Hallo, willkommen in Cambridge. Ich bin Fabio De Masi, Abgeordneter im Europäischen Parlament und werde heute für die Linke Ha-Joon Chang treffen. Er ist Ökonom und Bestseller-Autor an der University of Cambridge und wurde vom Prospect Magazin 2013 zu einem der einflussreichsten Denker der Welt gekürt. Und ich will mich heute mit ihm hier über die Krise in der Europäischen Union, über das Freihandelsabkommen TTIP und viele andere Themen mehr unterhalten. Und ich freue mich jetzt gleich auf das Gespräch mit ihm. You've written a lot about free trade and economic development. If I may summarize your basic arguments, you say there is no such thing as a free market or free trade. Generations of economists have been taught that countries such as England have prospered because of free trade. Could you explain to us why you disagree?
200 years ago, most people took it for granted that human beings could be bought and sold as slaves, Child labor could be bought and sold as a commodity. Now we don't do that because we have come to basically accept different ethical and political values, and we've decided to regulate these things. So the theoretical point when I say that there's no free market, no free trade, it basically means that the market itself is a political construct. There are a lot of myths in economics, but the greatest myth is that free trade is what made rich countries rich. I mean, this myth is so pervasive that some people would even argue that if you don't believe in free trade, you are not an economist. But actually, when you look at the real history, the reality is that the exact opposite. The people think that the British invented free trade. That's why they became the world economic hegemon in the 19th century. They think that the Americans that succeeded even more than the British because they did even more free trade. But the reality is that Britain was the most protectionist country in the world in the late 18th and early 19th century, when they were really trying to catch up with the high-tech economies of Europe at the time, namely the Low Countries, what are the Netherlands and Belgium. In the late 19th century, early 20th century, when the US was trying to catch up with Britain, it used the protectionism, and for about 120 years, until the Second World War, the US was the most protected economy in the world. Almost all of the rich countries, I think the only exceptions are the Netherlands and Switzerland to a lesser extent. But basically everyone else used protectionism, government subsidies, government regulations, and other types of government intervention in order to promote their industries until they become rich. And then they start preaching free trade to other people. This is what the great 19th century German economist Friedrich List called kicking away the ladder. So you use a ladder, i.e. protectionism, to climb to the top, and you kick that ladder away by preaching free trade to poorer countries so that poorer countries cannot catch up with you. And that was actually the title of my 2002 book, which got quite a lot of attention. I've written in the book how the reality of capitalist development is so completely different from the myth that we are fed day after day after day.
Ha-Joon, it was a pleasure to talk to you. hope to see you soon again.
Well, thank you for having me.